You're listening to the Retro Viking Podcast, Episode 1, Harvester. Hello everyone, this is the Retro Viking and thank you for joining us officially for episode 1 of the Retro Viking Podcast. So today we are going to be looking at one of the most bizarre and weird games that I have ever played in my life. Before we go into the details, let's just do a quick recap about what happened this week in the tournament, in the best 90s PC game of all time tournament. We officially have a winner, and the winner is Secret of Monkey Island that managed to defeat Doom in the finals. So it was quite a matchup, and for those that followed along, about 5 hours left into voting, we had over 2,000 votes from people all over Facebook that were voting for their favorite games, and Doom actually had the lead with 4% of the vote and was winning 54% to 46, and it was a tight game. I'll be real honest with you guys, I thought that Doom was gonna win it, and I was surprised to see the lead that Doom had melt and eventually Secret of Monkey Island did manage to squeeze in a win, so congratulations. And I have to admit, I have never played Secret of Monkey Island. However, after seeing how popular it was, I did start to watch a playthrough on YouTube, and it does look amazing, so definitely I will be looking into it, and I have a feeling it's going to become one of my favorite adventure games too. So that's about it. So again, congratulations to Secret of Monkey Island for winning the best 90s game of all time. So let's head to today's game, Harvester. So what exactly is Harvester? Harvester is actually an FMV game, so it's a full motion video game from, I believe, 1996. And I do recall playing this at a friend's house back in, which was probably 96 or 97. So I was a young lad, about 16, 17 years old, and I remember this game was controversial quite a lot, actually. Let's go into the technical terms. It's a game designed by Gilbert P. Austin, and it was published by Virgin Interactive. So what is the story behind Harvester? At first, the first time you're going to play it, you're going to feel lost, because in Harvester, you wake up as Steve in what seems to be 1950s old country home. You quickly meet your little bratty brother who spends all day watching TV, and your weird mother that spends all day cooking cookies. And immediately, the atmosphere is pretty strange. It's the classic case of amnesia. So you have no clue who you are, and the game spends a lot of time to remind you that you have no clue what you're doing and who you are and what are your goals. However, you quickly do realize that you should be entering what they call the lodge, which is like the gentleman's club. You have no clue why, but everybody in town wants you to enter the lodge, and they keep on putting pressure on you. And this is actually where the game shines. It's with its characters. So you're going to meet a ton of characters. You're going to meet a weird sheriff, a very weird sheriff that has some weird practices. Another one of my favorites is when you meet your future father-in-law, Mr. Potsdam, I believe is his name. He has a real obsession on red meat. So pretty much every time you talk to him, he wants the meat. So yes, he does want your meat. So even though things are not clear at the beginning of the game, what's really fun is that as you progress and as you realize what the purpose of your existence in that world is, the more interesting it becomes. And it's at the very end of the game, once everything goes all bad crazy, once everything goes crazy, that's when the major plot twist is revealed to you. And I'm not gonna spoil it because you guys deserve to give it a shot and to explore this wonderful game. It's truly unique. So it's if you like, I would say it compares to other 90s adventure game such as Phantasmagoria 1, Phantasmagoria 2. If you ever played Darkseid, if you played those games, then, and if you enjoyed them, then surely you're gonna enjoy Harvester. Now, one of the interesting features in Harvester is its combat system. So yes, there's a combat system in this point-and-click adventure game. I'll have to admit, it's not my favorite part. It's very iffy. The controls can be quite weird. However, I do have to applaud for the initiative and for thinking outside the box in giving you combat and healing items, and you have status effects and stuff like that. So definitely an interesting part of Harvester. Alright, so that was it for Harvester. So it's time to tell you guys about a little website that I found recently. So for those not aware, I am in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, so which you probably recognize with my French accent. And one of the things that I've been thinking about lately is to go back into retro gaming, not only on PC but on consoles as well. Last week, my father-in-law invited me to his place, and he brought out his old Sega Genesis. Now, I used to own the Sega Genesis, plus the Super Nintendo, Dreamcast. Now, unfortunately, all of my consoles are gone. I'm 36 years old now, and I basically got rid of them when I was in my teens. So it was quite a shock to play Genesis once again. And I was surprised at how much fun I had playing the games that I used to love. So I started taking a look. My father-in-law basically told me, here I have Aladdin. So we played Aladdin. We played a hockey game. We played World Series Baseball. He had Jurassic Park. So a few of those games I used to own as well. One of the games he told me that he had lost was Desert Strike, which I do recall renting it at the video store. I've never actually owned it, but I do remember playing it, and it was pretty fun. So I promised him that I would keep a lookout on eBay, Amazon. Unfortunately, eBay prices are pretty rough, and I didn't want to risk overpaying for something that I'm not even sure I'm going to receive. And eventually I found this Canadian store. So it's an online store. The website is retrogc.com. So that's retro, G as in golf, C as in Charlie.com. So it's in both French and English. They are based in Quebec. So if you're in Canada and you're looking for fair prices, I took a quick look, and I followed them on Facebook. I spoke with the owner, and he's a pretty cool guy. And I did order about 13 games or so for my father-in-law, and he actually made me a better price since I was buying a bundle. So just to give you guys an idea, I basically ordered Madden. I ordered, again, pretty much all the hockey games, all the sport games that were on the site that were cheap. There was a copy of Shining Force 2. I believe it was a boxed copy of Shining Force 2, which was selling for about $100. 100 Canadian dollars, man. That's cheap. That's about like $20, 20 American dollars. So now I didn't order the Shining Force. I'm not a collector, and I know my father-in-law is not a collector, but I did get Evander Holyfield boxing. Basically all these $5 and $10 titles. The game that I'm most excited to try again, I have to admit that I did purchase that one a little bit for me. It's Super Monaco Grand Prix 2. So I used to play that game a lot when I was a kid. So it's basically a racing game with a season mode. And I believe it's a reskin of Ayrton Senna's. I used to own Ayrton Senna's GP, which was released only in Brazil, I believe. I may be mistaken, so I do apologize if that's the case. But the American version was Super Monaco Grand Prix 2. At least I hope that's it, or else I bought the wrong racing game. But yeah, basically the games are on their way. I should be receiving them soon. And I was told that I was guaranteed that they would work. So I am fully I have faith in the package that I'm gonna receive. So definitely, guys, if you're in Canada and wish to add a few titles, go visit retrogc.com. So what am I playing these days? There's a game that actually came out this week. We are August 29th. If you guys are into card games or into Lord of the Rings, there's the one of my favorite board games that is coming out on Steam, or that just came out on Steam, which is the Lord of the Rings living card game. This game is hard, and I did actually try to stream it. Unfortunately, because of technical difficulties, I had to stop the stream early as I was doing the tutorial. Unfortunately, I had an issue with my internet connection, which I'm still trying to fix at the moment. So since I didn't want to restart the tutorial for a third time, I had to call it quits. But the game looks amazing. I keep on getting good feedback from other people that bought the game. The narrative, the soundtrack, both are amazing. So definitely, if you have a few dollars to spare, the game sells for about $10. There's different packages that you can purchase, which I believe adds new cards with the bigger packages so that you can construct more decks. So if you guys have no clue what I'm talking about, go take a look. You're going to see that it's a fully customizable card game, and it's really, really worth it. So what's going on in the Retro Viking world this week? There's a few things actually. So obviously you guys are listening to episode number 1 of the podcast. So this is a milestone, which I'm very proud of, and hopefully we'll have many more episodes in the future. We also have our new monthly retro gaming magazine that should be coming out sometime in September. Inside issue number 1 of the magazine, you will find some reviews of retro and independent games that are already out, as well as a special article on the retro Canadian TV show Video and Arcade Top 10, which was a cult favorite for many young Canadian kids back in the 90s and early 2000s. You'll get the full review and interview with Lauren Lemke, the creator of Super Blood Hockey. That's right, guys. Hockey is back, and so is Super Blood Hockey. So all that and many more items are coming up in the Retro magazine. If you're wondering how to obtain the magazine, it's actually quite simple. It's going to be released as a 2-week exclusive early access to all Patreon members. So make sure that if you're interested in getting the latest scoop earlier than everybody else, make sure that you head over to our Patreon page. And for as little as $1 per month, you can actually have your name printed inside the magazine, as well as get early access, as well as get special videos and special articles only for Patreon members. We'll be having a special 32 fighter tournament on the Facebook group all throughout the month of September. So we are presently looking for ideas for fighters. We need 32 fighters that will be fighting every day until we get the